You know, it seems like absolutely everyone right now is just craving that one epic, life-changing Southeast Asian adventure.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
you know the exact vibe I'm talking about. You're sitting at your desk, you picture the perfect turquoise water, the incredible chaotic street food, those lush green mountains rolling down into the ocean.
Right. The whole cinematic dream.
Exactly. But then you actually sit down to try to book it for this year or next year, and reality just, well, it just hits you right in the face.
It really does.
Because you look at Bali and you're instantly exhausted by the barrage of headlines.
Yeah, the over-tourism.
Yes, the over-tourism, the absolute gridlock traffic, and literally, hundreds of people lining up to fight for the exact same staged Instagram shot on a swing.
It's basically the paradox of the modern travel age,
That's
right?
right, totally.
The reality of a destination, it rarely matches the heavily filtered algorithmic dream anymore.
Yeah.
What you are buying is, well, often just the stress of competing with millions of other people trying to buy the exact same escapism.
Exactly. So then you pivot, you think, okay, let's look at Thailand. It's classic for a reason.
A classic pivot.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you look at the peak pricing on those famous Thai islands right now, and suddenly your wallet is just screaming at you.
Yeah, it's not the budget haven it used to be.
No, not at all. The value proposition just isn't what it used to be. And it leaves you wondering, like, in this massive, incredibly diverse, sprawling region of the world, is there a major blind spot? Is there a place that still has that magic, but the broader travel market is just completely missing it? Are we all just looking in the wrong direction because, the algorithm tells us to?
It's a fascinating question. And to answer it, you really have to look at travel markets the exact same way you look at financial markets.
Wait, like treating vacations like stocks?
Kind of, yeah. When everyone rushes toward a few blue-chip destinations, your Baileys, your Phukets, your Tulims, those places become massively overvalued.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Right. The infrastructure is strained, the local authenticity erodes, and the price is just completely detached from reality. The real opportunities, the high-yield travel experiences, they usually lie just 1 degree away from where the massive crowd is currently looking.
Well, today we are going to look exactly where the crowd is not looking.
I love it.
Today's deep dive is centered on a brilliant, meticulously researched, and honestly quite contrarian 2026 travel brief. It's from the Phil NH Travel podcast.
Such a great source.
It really is, and I want to set the tone by quoting exactly how they open this brief. They say, "Welcome to the Phil NH Travel podcast. Is it worth it?"
And that is just the absolute perfect framing for this discussion.
Right.
Because asking if something is worth it isn't just a question of, like, how cheap the hotel is.
Yeah, it's not just a budget thing.
Exactly. Worth it is a complex equation. It's the ratio of financial cost, logistical friction, and time spent measured against the actual visceral human experience you get in return.
Well, we are going to put that exact ratio to the test today.
Let's do it.
We've got a highly comprehensive roadmap for this deep dive. We're going to analyze all 11 specific segments of this brief, completely in order so you get the full picture.
11 segments, okay.
Yeah, it's thorough. We are going to start with a macroeconomic anomaly that is actively causing flight cuts, which I know sounds bad, but is actually your golden ticket.
It's the secret sauce.
Then we're going to give you exact costs, and I mean exact, down to the cent.
That's what people want.
Yep, we are tracking everything from a $393 international flight down to a 30-cent local ride.
30 cents, wow.
I know. We're going to break down 4 distinct accommodation tiers, expose 3 specific logistics traps that catch literally every single rookie, and finally, we'll lay out exactly who should be packing their bags for this destination and who should probably just stay home.
What I love about this source material is how relentlessly analytical it is about the destination.
It really pulls no punches.
No, it doesn't. It treats your vacation time like an investment portfolio. You are actively looking for high-value yield in a sector where the rest of the market has temporarily pulled back. It uses hard data, but the ultimate goal is maximizing the human experience.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We are talking about Cebu, an island province in the Philippines.
Such an interesting spot.
It is. The brief sets up this contrarian opportunity right out of the gate, and the core paradox here is just wild to me. Cebu is arguably one of Southeast Asia's most complete, multifaceted destinations.
Hold on.
I mean, look at what it actually is. It is a massive province encompassing 167 islands.
167.
Yeah. It has some of the best world-class diving on the planet. It is anchored by a major, historically dense city with a population of 1 million people.
So it's not just some sleepy beach town.
Exactly. And yet, the brief argues that Western markets are practically ignoring it in 2026. Why is a place with 167 islands and world-class infrastructure being ignored?
The data dive here is really what exposes the structural opportunity for the savvy traveler. If we rewind slightly just to look at the hard numbers for 2024, Cebu province received approximately 2.3 million domestic visitors.
2.3 million? Okay.
Right. And over 500,000 international arrivals.
That's a lot of people.
It is. Those are healthy, robust, thriving numbers. It shows the infrastructure is fully built out and tested.
It can handle a crowd.
Exactly. But the projections for 2026 are suddenly tracking completely downward. The local tourism boards and aviation authorities are anticipating a massive 213,000 passenger shortfall.
Wait, I need to stop you there. A projected drop of over 200,000 people in a single year.
Yeah, that's what the data says.
That is a staggering loss of volume. What is causing that? Did the reefs die? Is there political instability? Like, what scares away 200,000 people?
That is the beautiful part for the traveler. It's nothing dramatic on the ground. The destination itself is perfectly intact.
So what is it?
What we are looking at is macroeconomic friction. Globally, we're seeing fluctuating fuel costs and changing profitability models for legacy airlines.
Okay, airline stuff.
Right. What happens is these airlines consolidate their routes. They look at their network and say, okay, we are going to reduce the frequency of flights to secondary hubs like Cebu and funnel everyone through mega hubs like Manila or Hong Kong to save on operational costs.
Ah, okay. So it's not that people don't want to go, it's that the algorithmic routing of the airlines just made it slightly more annoying to get there.
Precisely. The infrastructure to get people there is temporarily shrinking, which mechanically reduces the number of arrivals. It's a supply-side bottleneck, not a demand-side failure.
I love this. It's like an exclusive, amazing nightclub where the bouncer temporarily went on strike.
That is a great analogy.
Because it's suddenly slightly harder to get in the front door, there are way fewer people inside. The dance floor is open, the prices at the bar are dropping, and the operators inside are absolutely desperate for your business because their overhead hasn't changed.
That is a highly accurate and, frankly, very profitable way to look at it. Because the supply of tourism infrastructure on the island, the massive resorts, the boutique dive shops, the thousands of local restaurants that supply, hasn't shrunk one bit.
Only the demand has dropped?
Exactly. And when supply outpaces demand, the buyer, in this case you, the traveler, gets immense pricing power.
And what a massive supply it is. Let's really detail the footprint of what we are talking about here.
Yeah, the scale is important.
Because Cebu is not some tiny little sandbar you walk across in 10 minutes. We are talking about 4,468 square kilometers of dramatic, varied topography.
And massive.
You have jagged mountains running down the spine on the west and coastline absolutely everywhere. To give you some scale, it's a massive playground.
It really is.
And to get to this massive playground, let's look at the flight data because this is where the value spread really begins to show itself. The brief highlights that from Sydney, Australia, round-trip flights are starting at around $393.
We really need to pause and appreciate that number.
$393.
Right. For an international round-trip flight crossing multiple time zones to land at a major Asian hub under $400 is staggering value. In many parts of the world, $393 won't even get you a 2-hour domestic flight during a holiday weekend.
It really is wild. Now, if you're coming from further out, the logistics change, but the value is still there.
Like from Europe.
Yeah, say you are flying from London. You're likely flying via Hong Kong on Cathay Pacific. The brief notes you need to budget between $760 and $850 for a decent fare.
Still very reasonable for that distance.
Definitely. And if you're coming from North America, say Toronto, expect to pay around $770 to $900 round trip, depending on the season. You are going to have a layover. But that layover is the exact moat that is keeping those 213,000 other people away.
Exactly. You are being paid in the form of lower on-the-ground prices and empty beaches to endure a 3-hour layover in Hong Kong or Taipei.
Such a good trade-off.
And once you arrive, the budget spectrum is what makes this place so sociologically fascinating. The brief extensively details this. It notes a daily budget floor of around $35 if you are highly disciplined.
$35.
Right. And the ceiling, the absolute luxury ceiling, runs up to about $350 a night at the right 5-star resort.
Let me push back on that floor for a second. A $35 daily floor versus a $350 luxury ceiling. That is a 10x multiple.
Is a widespread.
In a place like London or New York, the floor to just survive the day might be $150, and the luxury ceiling is, what, $2,000? It's a completely different game. Here, $35 actually buys you a bed and meals.
Which is exactly what makes Cebu a demographic chameleon. That vast functional gap is the real story of the destination.
It serves everyone.
Yes, it isn't just a backpacker haven where older or comfort-seeking travelers will feel out of place. And it isn't just an elite gated enclave where budget travelers are priced out of a bottle of water. It authentically serves every single budget tier simultaneously.
That's so rare.
It is. And with that 2026 passenger shortfall we discussed, those budget tiers are yielding incredible buyer power. Your $35 goes further, and your $350 buys you a level of luxury that would cost triple in Hawaii or the Maldives.
Okay, so the macroeconomic setup is a dream. You see that $393 flight from Sydney, you reach for your credit card, and you're ready to hit book.
Hold on.
Right, stop. Do not book yet. Because before you lock in a date, we have to talk about timing, which brings us to the next part of the brief. The weather in the Philippines is not something you want to guess on.
No, you absolutely not.
It is not California. Cebu sits in the Visayas region, which is the central part of the sprawling Philippine archipelago. Geographically, it straddles the infamous Pacific Typhoon Belt.
That sounds terrifying to a lot of people.
It does. But the source makes a very specific note that it occupies a, quote, partially sheltered position. What does that actually mean for the traveler?
It's a crucial geographic distinction. The Philippines gets battered by typhoons, there's no denying that. But because Cebu is in the center, surrounded by other massive landmasses like Samar, Leyte, and Negros, it often avoids the catastrophic direct hits that strike the eastern seaboards or the northern island of Luzon.
Oh, so the other islands take the brunt of it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
The neighboring islands act as a buffer. In terms of planning, the island fundamentally has two effective seasons. You have the dry season, running roughly from December through May, and the wet season from June through November.
So if I'm looking at my calendar, I want the absolute best version of this trip. No compromises. When is the international sweet spot?
If you want optimal conditions, you want to target February, March, and early April.
Early spring, essentially.
Exactly. This is a brilliant window. It's post-festival season, so the massive crowds have dispersed, but it is pre-extreme summer heat. You're looking at gorgeous, predictable temperatures of 28 to 32 degrees Celsius every single day.
That sounds absolutely perfect.
It is. And crucially, if you are coming for the ocean, this is the peak diving visibility window for iconic spots like Moalboal and Malapascua. The water is glassy, the skies are blue. It is literally what you see in the brochures.
All right, but what if I'm a risk taker?
Okay.
What if I looked at that $35 floor and decided I want the absolute cheapest possible rates and I'm willing to gamble? You mentioned the wet season. How bad is the typhoon risk, really?
Well, the typhoon risk technically runs from June through September, with August and September carrying the highest statistical risk of severe weather.
So those are the danger months.
Statistically, yes. But remember that partially sheltered note. Because the worst of the Philippine typhoons usually track further north toward Luzon, the risk in Cebu is often manageable.
So it's not a guaranteed disaster?
No, not at all. It doesn't mean it won't rain, but it might mean heavy afternoon showers rather than a week of being locked in your hotel.
Ugh.
And the reward for taking that meteorological gamble is massive.
Ugh. How massive?
The brief tracks a 30 to 40% drop in hotel prices during this period. That $393 flight from Sydney, it might even dip lower.
I mean, 40% off a luxury resort is so tempting. But if I don't want my vacation ruined by a freak storm, is there a compromise, like a middle ground?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
If you want pure value with highly acceptable weather risk, October to early November is your secondary sweet spot.
Shoulder season.
Exactly. The rains are tapering off, the ocean is calming down, but the peak season pricing hasn't kicked in yet. Prices are still low and conditions are rapidly improving. It's the smart money's booking window.
Okay, we have covered the best times. Now we have to talk about January.
Yes, January.
Because the brief includes a massive flashing red warning about the Sinulog Festival. I have to geek out about the scale of this thing for a second because the numbers are just hard to comprehend.
They really are staggering.
It happens every third Sunday of January. It lasts for 9 entire days. And it draws over 1 million people to Cebu City.
1 million.
1 million people descending on a provincial city.
It is genuinely one of the largest, most vibrant festivals in all of Southeast Asia. It's this Fascinating mix of profound Catholic devotion honoring the Santo Niño and an absolute uninhibited street carnival.
And the economics of it are wild. Let's fact check the numbers from the brief here. Standard hotels in the city center that normally charge $45 a night for a completely average room will see their rack rates jump to $120, $150, even $200 a night.
If you can even get a room.
Right. You can't just walk up. You have to book at least 4 months out. But let me pose a hypothetical here.
Go for it.
Let's say I'm listening to this, and I actively hate crowds. I don't like parades. I don't like shoulder-to-shoulder traffic. But January fits my work schedule perfectly. Is the city actually an absolute write-off, or can I just stay in my resort and ignore it?
Unequivocally, yes, it is a write-off.
Really? That bad?
If you are a peace seeker, the city doing Sinulog is impassable. The main thoroughfares are literally shut down for parades. The streets are gridlocked with millions of revelers, the hotel rates are punitive, and the sheer volume of humanity makes normal logistics like catching a taxi to a historical site or getting a quiet dinner completely impossible.
So you're just stuck?
Yes. Furthermore, December and January also bring a massive surge of domestic Filipino travelers returning home for the holidays.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, this pushes accommodation up 20 to 30% across the board and books out resorts weeks in advance, even outside the city. If crowds aren't your thing, you must avoid the New Year and mid-January period entirely. Don't try to fight a million people for a taxi.
I think that is incredibly sound advice. So let's say we listen to you. We bypassed January. We booked our trip for that sweet spot in March. The weather is a perfect 29 degrees. We've navigated our layover, and we are finally touching down.
The exciting part.
Yes. Which brings us to the next section of the brief. First impressions. Paint the picture for us. What happens when the plane doors open?
Well, you land at Mactan Cebu International Airport, and right away there is a geographical quirk. The airport is actually on Mactan Island, which is a separate, smaller island connected to the main, sprawling Cebu city by bridges.
Oh, interesting. So it's not even in the main city.
No, it's not.
Oh.
You're walking through Terminal 2, which has recently had a massive architectural expansion. The brief notes, it's modern, it's organized, it has these sweeping wooden arches. It lulls you into a sense of calm.
But I'm guessing that calm doesn't last.
No. The moment you walk out those sliding glass doors into the tropical heat, the ecosystem changes instantly, and you need to be deeply alert.
Yes, the transport trap. This is the first real test of the traveler. And the brief breaks down this immediate scam beautifully. As you exit, still jet lagged, you will be swarmed by friendly, very convincing men offering you fixed-price rides.
They are very persistent.
They are. They're trying to get you into unmetered private cabs or unlicensed motorcycle taxis, which are known locally as habal-habal. They will look you dead in the eye, point to a laminated card that looks official, and quote you $15 to $25 to get to the city.
Which, in the context of the local economy, is pure predatory inflation.
Just a total ripoff.
Exactly. They are preying on your assumption that $25 for an airport transfer seems completely reasonable because, well, it would be $80 in London or New York.
So what's the fix?
The fix here is very simple, and the brief gives you two explicit options. Option 1. Ignore the touts completely and walk directly to the official metered taxi queue.
The metered ones. Okay,
All right,
yeah.
the white or yellow ones. A legitimate metered cab from the airport all the way into central Cebu City takes about 30 to 45 minutes depending on traffic. And it should only cost you between $3 and $6 US on the meter.
Wait, $3 to $6 for a 45-minute ride across an island.
Yes.
That is barely the drop fee in most Western cities.
Exactly. The local economics reassert themselves the second you insist on the meter. Option 2, which is arguably even smarter for first-timers who are tired and don't want to explain directions, is to use Grab.
Oh, Grab, like the Uber of Southeast Asia.
Exactly. A Grab ride from the airport to the city center will cost you exactly between $2 and $4 US. It completely eliminates the haggling, the potential for a broken meter scam, and the language barrier, because the driver already has your GPS pin.
$2 to $4. That's just incredible.
It's so cheap.
But before you even get in that Grab and cross the bridge into the city, the brief points out that there is some intense instant history right near the airport.
Yeah, right around the corner.
The Mactan Shrine is literally 5 minutes away from the terminal, and it is completely free to visit. This isn't just a generic statue. This marks the exact historical spot where the famous explorer Ferdinand Magellan was killed in battle by the local chief, Lapu-Lapu, all the way back in 1521.
It is a phenomenal historical anchor to start your trip with. We so often approach travel in developing nations with this unexamined lens of colonial history as just a given that these places were passively discovered.
Right, exactly.
But right here, 5 minutes off the plane, you have towering bronze statues and a waterfront setting that frame the entire Philippine identity story. It is a story of fierce resistance to colonization right at the point of first contact. It fundamentally grounds your understanding of the proud culture you are stepping into.
I love that. So you soak in that history, and then your $4 grab takes you across the bridge into Cebu City itself. The sensory description in the source material here is incredibly vivid.
It really paints a picture.
It does.
Yeah.
The brief wants you to know that Cebu City is not sanitized. It is noisy, it is chaotic, it is intensely energizing.
It's not a quiet beach town.
Definitely not. You are immediately hit with the stark contrast to a polished, manicured resort bubble like Boracay or a sanitized hub like Singapore, and the defining visual is the jeepneys.
Oh, the jeepneys are iconic.
These are essentially heavily modified, wildly painted, extended World War II style trucks. They are the arteries of the city. And a ride anywhere in central Cebu on one of these costs under 30 cents.
30 cents for transit. Think about how that fundamentally alters how you interact with an urban environment.
It really changes everything.
Completely removes the financial friction of exploration. If you see an interesting neighborhood out the window, you jump off. If it's a dead end, you spend another 30 cents to jump on the next one. It encourages a level of serendipitous discovery that a $15 subway pass just doesn't.
Absolutely. And speaking of that discovery, there are massive historical sites sitting right in the middle of this urban chaos that are completely free to enter.
Which ones?
Well, you have the Basilica Minore de Santo Niño, which was originally built in 1565.
There.
It is just 3 blocks from the busy waterfront. And right next to it is Magellan's Cross, housed in this beautiful stone octagonal chapel. It is the most photographed landmark in the city, sitting right amidst the vendors and traffic.
It's that juxtaposition of deep history and frantic modern life that defines Cebu. But the brief notes a very specific aha moment. A moment when the friction of the chaos fades and the charm takes over.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's as it happens when you find yourself in the historic Purcherian district, the old colonial merchant area at dusk, looking out across the strait toward Mactan. That is the pivot point.
It's when it clicks.
Yes. That is the exact moment when Cebu stops feeling like just a loud logistical obligation, a messy city you flew into just to catch a ferry somewhere else, and starts feeling like a genuine, profound discovery in its own right.
Okay, so we've absorbed the history, we've navigated the chaotic streets, we've had our magical dusk aha moment in the Purcherian district. Now that we've done all that, you are exhausted.
Naturally.
Where are you actually sleeping? This brings us to our massive accommodation breakdown. We have 4 distinct tiers to cover, and we are going to name the specific properties and the exact US dollar prices straight from the brief so you know what the market actually looks like.
This is where the numbers get really fun.
Let's start right at the floor. The budget tier. This is running $12 to $25 a night. What does a $12 room actually look like here?
For backpackers and extreme budget travelers, the brief sets the benchmark with Z Hostel Cebu, which is located in the very modern IT Park district.
Okay, so a nice area.
Very nice. You are looking at dorm beds starting at $12 and private rooms from $22. Now, $12 might sound like a grimy, unair-conditioned nightmare to a Westerner, but this isn't 1995.
Right.
This place comes with a rooftop pool, a thriving social bar, and fast, reliable fiber Wi-Fi.
That's wild.
Alternatively, if you want to be deep in the local hustle, there is Cebu Backpackers Inn, right near the sprawling carbon market. Basic, no-frills private rooms there go for $15 to $18 a night. As the brief points out, these aren't luxury by any stretch, but they are immaculately clean, highly functional, and extremely central.
$12 for a bed, air conditioning, and a rooftop pool. I mean, you can't even get a cocktail in London for $12.
Exactly.
But let's say I've graduated from my hostel era. I want privacy, I want a great mattress, I want a buffet. Next up is Midrange, which runs $45 to $90 a night.
The absolute sweet spot here, according to the brief, is the Marco Polo Plaza Cebu. It sits elevated on Nivel Hill overlooking the city. Rooms start at $65 a night.
$65 for a hotel like that.
Yes. For that $65, you get panoramic city views, a massive pool complex, and many of their rate packages include a genuinely strong international-scale buffet breakfast.
That is an insane deal.
It really is. If you are there for business or want to be right by the massive SM City Mall, you have the Radisson Blu Cebu, pricing at $75 to $95 a night. That is your rock-solid, highly reliable international standard option. It is perfect for solo travelers or couples who want 100% predictability but absolutely refuse to pay the massive premium of a beachfront resort.
But inevitably, people come to the Philippines for the water.
Of course.
So we step up to the resort and beach tier, which runs $80 to $180 a night. We are leaving the dense city for these. Down in Moalboal, which is about a 2 to 3 hour drive south of the city, the brief highlights a Saavedra Dive Center and Resort. Beachfront bungalows there run an incredibly reasonable $55 to $80 a night.
And you are paying for direct ocean access there.
Right on the water. If you go up to the quieter northern coast, Allegra Beach Resort and Spa offers a closer feel to a proper, manicured luxury beach club. That price is between $120 and $180.
A bit more premium.
Yeah. And then back over on Mactan Island, the island where the airport is, the flagship property in this tier is the Shangri-La Mactan Resort and Spa. Rates there are $180 to $280 a night for a garden view room. And the brief notes, it has direct access to some of the absolute best house reefs snorkeling around right off the private beach.
And if we push into the absolute top tier, the luxury bracket running $180 to well over $400 a night, you have places like the Crimson Resort and Spa Mactan. It consistently tops the luxury rankings in the region.
What are we talking about here, like amenities-wise?
We are talking overwater villas, expansive private beaches, stunning infinity pools. Those rooms run $200 to $350 a night.
Still so much cheaper than other luxury hubs.
And completely. For the ultra-luxury, sprawling, multi-pool experience, Plantation Bay Resort and Spa on Mactan has been the elite standard since the 1990s. Depending on the season, a lagoon villa there where you literally step off your balcony into the water prices from $280 to $400 a night.
So wait, I'm looking at this map. We have this massive geographic spread. We have the dense city center, the remote north coast, the diving south coast, and the resort-heavy Mactan Island right near the airport. If I'm coming for a week, how on earth should I logic this out? If I pick the wrong base, I'm going to ruin my trip.
The geography logic is arguably the single most crucial piece of advice in this entire brief. You cannot just throw a dart at the map.
So what's the strategy?
Staying in Cebu City gives you unmatched, cheap access to food, historical culture, and transit logistics, but you have no beach. Staying on Mactan Island gives you instant beach and resort access, but you are physically trapped in tourist bubble pricing.
Okay, and the other areas?
Staying down in Moalboal gives you the absolute best value for marine life and dramatic scenery, but you are a 3-hour drive from the airport.
So what do they recommend?
The core, uncompromising recommendation from the source: split your stay.
Ah, okay.
Do not commit to just one location for a week. Spend your first 2 nights in the city to absorb the history and the culinary culture, then pack up and spend your remaining 3 or 4 nights either south or north for the natural elements and relaxation.
That is a brilliant strategy. It prevents that claustrophobia of being stuck in a resort, but saves you from the burnout of a week in the city traffic.
Exactly. Best of both worlds.
Now, you mentioned the culinary culture of the city, and we absolutely have to dive into that. The next section of the brief is going to make you incredibly hungry. We're talking about food, groceries, and local dining etiquette. The brief makes a massive claim right at the start. It calls Cebu the undisputed lechon capital of the Philippines.
That is a heavy crown to wear in a country obsessed with pork.
Right.
It's a heavy crown, but it is not an exaggeration. Cebu lechon is legendary.
For those who don't know, what makes it so special?
It is a whole roasted pig, but the magic is in the preparation. The skin is rubbed with soy and spices, and the belly is stuffed with local lemongrass, star anise, garlic, and spring onions before it is slow roasted over charcoal.
Oh, wow.
The meat is so flavorful that it doesn't even need a dipping sauce. Even world-renowned chefs like the late Anthony Bourdain famously came to Cebu and praised its lechon as quite simply the best pig preparation on earth.
And the accessibility of this world-class food is what gets me. You don't need a reservation at a Michelin-starred place to get it. You just go to a place like Zubushan, which has clean, air-conditioned locations in SM City, Cebu, and right on Mango Avenue.
How much does it cost?
Half a kilo of this world-class Bourdain-approved lechon is going to cost you between $6 and $8.
That's nothing.
That's about 350 to 450 pesos at current market rates. For meat that good, $8 is a steal. Now, if you want a more refined, sit-down Visayan cuisine experience in a beautiful setting, you go to La Cessa restaurant up on Nivell Hill. A full, beautifully plated three-course meal there is going to run you $15 to $20 per head.
That's the mid-range. But the street dining is where the value truly explodes and where the culture really lives.
Tell me about the street food.
The brief points out Largen Barbecue, which is located right on the Fuente Osmeña Circle. It is a massive, permanent, open-air grill market. It's smoky, it's loud, it's incredible.
Take an experience.
It is. You can get a full, gut-busting, skewer-based dinner there for $3 to $5. The source explicitly mentions the local iha culture.
Iha. What's that?
Iha essentially means you walk up to a stall, point at raw marinated pork, whole squid, or chicken and hazel, pay by weight, and they grill it fresh right in front of you over open coals. This is the default evening meal for locals, and the savings compared to sit-down restaurants are substantial.
Okay, eating out for $3 is amazing, but what if I'm staying in an Airbnb for a month? What if I'm a digital nomad and I just want to cook my own breakfast? Let's talk grocery economics.
Always good to know.
The brief maps this out perfectly. The main local supermarkets for your daily needs are SM and Robinsons. If you want bulk goods or imported Western brands, you go to Landers, which is basically their exact equivalent of a Costco.
Nice.
Let's run down the exact prices from the brief for a basic couple's weekly shop. Prepare yourself for this. 5 kilos of local rice.
5 kilos. Okay, how much?
$2.50.
Wow.
A full dozen eggs. $1.80.
Incredible.
1 kilo of fresh local milkfish, which is culturally ubiquitous and locally called bangus. $2. A massive bunch of freshwater spinach or kangkong. 30 cents.
30 cents for fresh greens.
Right. A liter of local cooking oil. $1.50. And a big 1.5-liter bottle of drinking water. 35 cents.
It's incredibly localized, highly protected pricing. The agricultural supply chain for basic staples keeps those prices anchored, even when tourist hotel prices fluctuate.
And we absolutely cannot forget the cultural staple, San Miguel beer. A cold bottle is $1 at a local convenience store and maybe $2 to $3 if you're sitting at a nice restaurant or a beach bar watching the sunset.
Those grocery numbers dictate the financial budget. But we also need to deeply understand the behavioral budget. The etiquette around food here is fascinating and crucial for a traveler to understand.
Like tipping.
First, tipping. It is not culturally mandatory the way it is in the U.S., though a 10% tip is highly appreciated at sit-down places and is becoming more common. But the most important cultural touchstone is the extra rice culture.
Oh, yes, the rice.
Consuming a mountain of rice at literally every single meal is completely normal. Many casual dining spots will actively advertise unlimited rice for free as a way to draw in customers.
There is a very serious warning in the brief here, though. The host culture is generous, but do not waste food on your plate if you've requested that full portion.
Exactly. It registers very, very badly in the local culture. Leaving a mountain of requested rice on your plate is seen as arrogant and wasteful. Furthermore, the dining norm here is to share dishes.
Like family style.
Exactly. Ordering communally, getting a whole fish, a huge plate of pancit noodles, a platter of rice for the center of the table instead of ordering individuals, separate entrees isn't just more authentic to how Filipino families eat, it also dramatically saves you money.
Right, we have all the puzzle pieces. We have the flights, the hotels, the food, the transit. Let's turn all these scattered prices into a cohesive master plan. The next section of the brief is the daily out-of-pocket budget.
Time to crunch the numbers.
I want the listener to treat this like a rigorous financial planning session for your trip. Let's break down the math explicitly for 4 very different types of travelers to see if the hype matches reality. First, the backpacker low. The brief claims $35 to $50 a day is realistic. Let's do a harsh math check on that. Can you actually survive and have fun on $35?
Let's run the exact numbers. You wake up in your Z Hostel bed, that's $12.
Okay, 12 down.
You eat 3 solid street food meals, maybe some iha and local bakeries, that comes to $10.
We're at 22.
You take a couple of grab rides to get around the city for $3.
25.
You focus on free activities, like exploring the Basilica, hitting a public beach, or hiking up to a waterfall. You buy snacks and bottled water for $5.
30.
And you end the day with a cold San Miguel beer for $2. That totals exactly $32. So yes, with discipline, The $35 to $45 range is entirely achievable without starving or sleeping on the street.
That is deeply impressive. Now, moving up to the mid-range traveler, this is where I think most people sit. We're looking at $80 to $130 per person per day. You take a really nice mid-range hotel, let's say the Marco Polo, which is running $65 to $90 a night.
And you split that.
Exactly. If you split that with a partner, your room cost is $32 to $45 per person. You spend $25 to $35 on 2 nice restaurant meals and maybe 1 street meal.
Sounds very comfortable.
It is. You book a paid guided activity like island hopping or a historic tour for $15 to $25. Add $5 to $8 for transit and leave $10 for incidentals. Your grand total is sitting comfortably between $87 and $123 a day.
That is an incredibly comfortable, highly frictionless way to travel for around $100 a day. You have AC, great food, pools, and private transit.
Right.
Now, let's scale that up for a family of 4. This is where the value proposition absolutely destroys Western destinations. The daily total would be $220 to $320.
Let's break that down for the parents listening. 2 adjoining hotel rooms or a large family suite will run $100 to $140 a night total. Meals for 4, mixing local spots and mid-range restaurants, $60 to $80 a day.
What about activities?
A group island hopping day trip on a private boat, $60 to $80 total for the whole family. Transit in a larger grab, $15 to $20. So, looking at the big picture, a 7-night trip for a family of 4, fully all in, including those $393 flights from Sydney we discussed earlier, is going to run between $2,800 and $3,600.
That's the whole trip.
Total for an entire family.
When you compare that $3,600 price tag to a week in Hawaii, or even domestic travel within Australia or North America where the flights alone might cost that much, it's unparalleled value.
Okay, but what if I want to go all out? What about the luxury tier?
Per person, the luxury tier runs $280 to $400+ a day.
How does that break down?
That includes your share of a $200 to $350 room at the Crimson or Shangri-La. You effortlessly drop $40 to $60 on fine multi-course dining. You do a full, professionally guided dive day with equipment rental for $80 to $100.
That sounds amazing.
It is. You get a 2-hour spa treatment for $50 to $80 and spend $20 on private transit. Total spend is $390 to $590 per person for a truly high-end, world-class experience.
And lastly, we have to cover the digital nomads because they're a huge part of the post-2020 travel economy, and their monthly costs are vital. The brief puts a nomad month between $900 and $1,400.
That's very competitive.
Let's look at it. Rent for a modern, high-rise apartment in IT Park or La Hug is $350 to $550 a month. A desk at co-working space like the company's Cebu or Clock In runs $80 to $150 a month, a generous food budget of $200 to $300, transit $50 to $80. And a local SIM card with unlimited data is just $10 to $15.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to compare this to the reigning nomad hubs. That sub-$1,400 pricing makes Cebu genuinely competitive with places like Chiang Mai in Thailand and Bali in Indonesia.
Very true.
But Cebu has a massive, undeniable added advantage for Western workers. Near-native English speakers are absolutely everywhere, and there is a very strong pre-existing business services and tech ecosystem already in place. Integrating to the local economy is remarkably frictionless.
So on paper, the budget is a dream. You're living incredibly well for $100 a day or living like royalty for $400. But here is the reality check. That budget can evaporate instantly, and your mood can be ruined entirely if you fall into the logistical traps this island sets for first-timers.
Oh, the traps. You have to be careful.
This brings us to a critical part of the brief. We are pivoting from planning to avoiding absolute disaster. The brief explicitly names 3 vicious logistics traps. Let's go through them. Trap 1, the Mactan Bridge bottleneck.
The underlying mechanism causing this trap is simply infrastructure limits outpaced by rapid economic growth. Cebu City on the mainland and Mactan Island, where the resorts and airport are located, are connected by just 2 bridges.
Just 2?
Yes. You have the Mando-Mactan Bridge, built way back in 1972, and the Marcelo Fernand Bridge, opened in 1999. During weekday rush hours from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., and again from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., the sheer volume of commuters, tourists, and cargo trucks forces both bridges into absolute, unmoving gridlock.
I have to react to this because this is my nightmare. So the reality is, if I book a beautiful $300 beach hotel on Mactan, but I plan to commute into the city every day because I want that cheap $3 street food and the historical culture, I am going to spend 45 to 90 minutes stuck in a taxi on a bridge.
Easily. each way.
That is 3 hours of my vacation sitting in traffic. And if I have a 6 a.m. flight out, you're telling me I have to leave my Cebu City hotel at 4 a.m. just to be safe.
Unfortunately, yes. It is a brutal geographic choke point. The fix, as we discussed in the geography logic section, is to base yourself according to your daily goal. Do not try to have it all from one hotel room.
Right.
If the city culture and nightlife is your base, stay in the city. If the beach and diving are your priority, stay on Mactan or go way south to Moalboal and bypass the city commute entirely. Do not try to commute from the beach to the city daily. It will break your spirit.
Trap number 2 is fascinating because it is biologically driven. The Oslob whale shark timing lie. Down in Oslob, on the southern tip of the island, you can snorkel with massive, majestic whale sharks.
It's a cool experience.
It is. The local fishermen feed them krill, so they are reliably present.
Huh.
Every single tour operator, every hotel concierge, every hable driver in the city will try to sell you a tour by confidently claiming you can go all day.
But that is physically and biologically impossible. The reality is that the feeding, which is what keeps the sharks near the shore, happens strictly between 6 a.m. and 12 p.m.
So morning only.
Exactly. Once midday hits, the feeding stops, the boats pull back, and the sharks naturally disperse into the deep ocean. If you buy a heavily marked-up tour that arrives at 10 a.m., you'll be dumped into crowded, murky water with restless sharks and hundreds of other tourists.
No, that sounds awful.
It's bad. Any tour sold to you as an afternoon or sunset experience is operating completely outside the reliable window. It's essentially a scam. They're selling you a boat ride to an empty ocean.
So what is the actual workable fix for this?
You have two options, the hard way. You have to leave your hotel in Cebu City at 4 a.m. It is a grinding 3-hour drive south in the dark. You arrive in Oslob by 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
That sounds exhausting.
It is, but you get calm, uncrowded water, beautiful morning light, and peaceful sharks. Or the much smarter fix. Take a leisurely bus down the afternoon before and stay in Oslob overnight.
Make a night of it.
Right. A basic clean guest house right on the water down there is only $20 to $35. You wake up at 6 a.m., walk out your door, and you are first in the water. It solves the logistics entirely.
Trap number 3 is honestly my favorite because it sounds like a comedy sketch until it happens to you. The inter-island ferry confusion matrix.
It's a mess.
The mechanism behind this is Cebu's legacy geography. Cebu is the maritime hub for dozens of surrounding islands: Bohol, Negros, Leyte, Camiguin, Malapascua. To serve this, you have multiple competing massive ferry operators: Tugeo Travel, OceanJet, Light Shipping, Supercat, Coqueliong.
So many choices.
And they all run from different piers in a sprawling, highly industrialized port area.
And the painful reality is that first-timers show up at the wrong pier constantly. Pier 1 handles ferries to Mactan and some nearby islands. Pier 4 handles a massive volume to Bohol and Tagbilaran. Pier 6 handles long-haul routes to Cagayan de Oro.
So they aren't all together.
No, they aren't neatly next to each other like airport gates. They are scattered across 2 kilometers of chaotic, truck-filled harbor. And if you just jump in a tricycle and tell the driver, "Take me to the port," they will guess. And because Pier 1 is the closest, they usually guess wrong.
Imagine the panic. You have 10 minutes until your boat leaves. You're standing at Pier 1, and the guard tells you your boat is 2 kilometers away through gridlock traffic. The fix here is to be hyper-specific. You must name the exact island destination and the exact ferry operator when booking your ride or talking to a driver.
Yes, write it down if you have to.
An OceanJet fast ferry to Bohol is a smooth 2-hour ride for just $8 to $12. A Supercat to Dumaguete is $10 to $14. These are incredible, high-value connections. You absolutely do not want to miss your boat because of a pier mix-up.
So we've navigated the logistics and the bridges. Let's transition to a slightly heavier but essential topic. Because cheap flights and great food are only good if you survive the trip to enjoy them. We need to talk about safety, solo travel, and comfort.
Yes, very important.
What is the objective, unsugar-coated reality of safety in Cebu?
The expert analysis provided in the brief is very clear and refreshingly nuanced. It notes that the Philippines as a whole does carry an elevated general crime index compared to heavily policed tourist neighbors like Vietnam or Singapore.
That's true.
However, when you zoom in on the data, Cebu specifically has consistently, historically lower crime rates than other major hubs like Manila or Davao.
Exactly. The primary risk to a tourist here isn't violent crime or organized syndicates targeting foreigners in tourist areas. It's opportunistic petty theft.
Like pickpockets.
Yeah, you will occasionally see phone snatching. This happens when someone is sitting near the open window of a slow-moving jeepney, completely distracted by their screen, and a passing motorcycle grabs it.
Oh, the classic snatch and grab.
Right. There's also known pickpocket activity in highly crowded, chaotic areas like the Colon Street Night Market or the Carbon Market. However, the primary tourist and expat areas, IT Park, La Hug, Mango Avenue, the Mactan Resort Strip, are very well lit, constantly busy, and have high levels of visible barangay or local neighborhood security.
So just be smart about it.
The fix is remarkably simple. Use zipped crossbody bags, keep your valuables in your front pockets, don't walk around busy streets blindly staring at your phone, and spend the $3 on a grab car instead of walking down dark, unfamiliar streets at 2 a.m.
Let's talk about a specific demographic. What about solo female travel?
That's a huge question for a lot of people.
The brief actually gives Cebu a very strong recommendation for this. It notes that the culture is predominantly Catholic and can be quite conservative in some social aspects, but it is intensely, almost overwhelmingly helpful and warm to foreign visitors.
Hospitality is a big deal there.
Huge. Chivalry and hospitality are deeply ingrained. IT Park operates 204/7 with a massive professional working culture call centers, tech hubs making it feel very safe and populated at night.
That's reassuring.
The brief even notes that solo female travelers consistently report feeling safer and significantly less harassed in Cebu than in places like Bangkok or Ho Chi Minh City. The main annoyance cited isn't physical danger, but just persistent loud hawking from tuk-tuk drivers and tour operators trying to sell you a boat ride.
We also need to talk about family comfort because bringing kids changes the equation entirely. And the heat is a very real, very physical factor here.
Oh, the heat is no joke.
We are talking about consistent temperatures of 30 to 35 degrees Celsius combined with 70 to 85% humidity in the peak summer months.
It's just heavy.
The brief explicitly warns that this level of humid heat is genuinely debilitating and potentially dangerous for young children, specifically those under 5. Midday rest in air conditioning, aggressive hydration, and serious sun protection aren't optional recommendations. They are medical necessities.
What if something does go wrong?
On the deeply positive side, if someone does get sick or injured, the medical care is excellent for a provincial Asian city. Places like Cebu Doctors University Hospital and Chonghua Hospital offer internationally comparable, highly professional care, which is vital peace of mind if you're traveling with kids or doing extreme water sports.
Before we leave the topic of safety, there is one very specific, highly annoying scam to watch out for. When you visit Magellan's Cross, which you absolutely should look out for, the friendship bracelet ambush.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
A vendor will approach you, smile, and try to quickly tie a cheap string bracelet on your wrist entirely uninvited. Once it's tied, they will suddenly demand $5 to $10 for it, claiming it's a blessing.
And you just feel obligated.
Right. The fix is to be situationally aware and offer a firm, loud no thank you while pulling your hands away before they can touch your wrist.
It's a classic friction point.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect segue. We're moving into the final phases of our analysis. We need to look at the best moments and honest disappointments. Because no destination is perfect.
Every single place on Earth has both.
And a good brief highlights the flaws as clearly as the highlights.
Let's start with the absolute highs, the truly epic, Instagram-ruining moments. At the top of the list in the brief is Kawasan Falls canyoneering. This takes place in Badian, about 3 hours south of the city.
This looks amazing in videos.
It is wild. You put on a helmet and a life vest, and you spend 4 hours trekking down a river canyon. We are talking about leaping off waterfalls, cliff jumps up to 10 meters high, sliding down natural rock water slides.
Not for the faint of heart.
No, but it culminates at these massive, triple-tiered, violently turquoise falls. It takes 4 hours. It costs a mere $25 to $35, which includes your local guide and safety gear. And it is legitimately a world-class adventure experience.
What a bargain.
Then you have the Moalboal sardine run right off Panaksama Beach. You don't even need a boat for this. You literally wade in from the shore, swim out 50 meters, and you are suddenly surrounded by millions of sardines forming a massive swirling bait ball in shallow water.
And the cost.
It costs nothing but a $2 municipal marine sanctuary fee.
Next is Osmeña Peak, a simple 2-hour hike for $5 that delivers these jagged, 360-degree views of the island's interior that photos simply cannot do justice to. And of course, the cultural peak we discussed, the Sinulog Festival. 1 million people street dancing. It is deeply spiritual, incredibly loud, and fully carnivalesque.
Those highs are undeniably spectacular, but we need that healthy dose of reality too, the honest disappointments.
Lay it on us. If you go expecting perfection, you will be let down. The Cebu City waterfront is a prime example cited in the brief. As a tourist, you hear Island City, and you expect a beautiful, sweeping, palm-lined, scenic promenade with cafes.
Right, like Sydney or something.
That is not what Cebu City is. The waterfront is an industrial, working mess of commercial shipping infrastructure, ferry terminals, and heavy vehicle traffic. It significantly underdelivers aesthetically for a coastal city of this size.
The Mactan resort beaches also take a massive hit in the brief. I think this is where a lot of people feel ripped off if they don't do their research.
Yes, the beaches at high-end places like Shangri-La and Crimson are largely artificial or heavily manicured. The house reefs just offshore are truly great for snorkeling, but the sand itself is thin and imported in some spots.
And the tides.
More critically, at low tide, the water recedes dramatically, and you are left looking at jagged rock shelves and seagrass, not rolling turquoise waves. If you spend $350 a night expecting the powdery, endless white sand of the Maldives or Bora Bora, you are making an unfair geographical comparison, and you will be deeply disappointed.
What about the food out there?
Also, the tourist strip food directly outside the Mactan resorts is heavily criticized in the brief. You are a captive audience, so you end up paying $15 to $20 for meals that deliver about $8 worth of actual culinary quality simply because of the resort postcode.
So let's play devil's advocate. If those specific flaws, the industrial, noisy city waterfront, the thin, artificial resort beaches, the heavy traffic, if those things really, truly bother you, where else should you look? What are the viable alternatives in the region?
The brief offers two distinct alternatives. Alternative one is Bohol. It is incredibly close. It's just 90 minutes away by that ocean jet ferry we mentioned, costing $10 to $14.
What do you get there?
What you gain in Bohol are significantly cleaner, more traditional beaches. Places on Alona Beach run an affordable $45 to $70 a night. You get access to the iconic, bizarre-looking Chocolate Hills and incredible, world-renowned wall diving at Delicasac Island. Your daily budget is slightly lower, hovering around $45 to $80.
Okay, what's the catch?
But the trade-off is severe. There is virtually no deep city culture, no massive urban food scene, no giant malls, and the inter-island transit logistics to get anywhere else are much harder than hubbing out of central Cebu.
Alternative 2 is for a totally different crowd. It's Siargao. To get there, you have to take a domestic flight from Cebu, which costs about $60 to $90 one way. This island is purely for the surf-focused, laid-back traveler. You have the world-renowned Cloud9 surf break, gorgeous boutique eco-resorts, and stunning remote lagoons. Your daily budget sits between $55 and $120.
And the trade-off there?
The trade-off here. It is much harder and more expensive to reach. The crowd skews much younger, heavily backpacker and influencer-focused, and it has far less medical or transport infrastructure for families or older couples seeking predictable comfort compared to Cebu.
Which brings us to the final critical piece of this deep dive. The ultimate summary. The is it worth it matrix.
Yes, the final verdicts.
We have thrown a massive amount of data, geography, and pricing at you. We need to drive these verdicts home with absolute clarity based on everything we've synthesized today.
Let's run the matrix. First, the backpacker verdict.
The verdict is yes, absolutely. That $35 to $35 daily budget is real and sustainable. The free and cheap natural activities are phenomenal. The only real hurdle is the flight connections, as you likely have to route through Manila, Kuala Lumpur, or Hong Kong due to those 2026 cuts. But if you sort the routing and endure the layover, the on-ground value is completely unmatched.
Next, the mid-range verdict. For the couple looking for a great vacation without going broke.
A strong yes. The value here is outstanding. We established that a $1,200 total budget for a week yields a deeply luxurious, highly comfortable experience. You are staying at the Marco Polo for $65, eating incredible food, doing thresher shark dives in Malapascua. It punches far above its weight class compared to the rest of the world.
The family verdict, the parents bringing the kids.
A qualified yes. It is fantastic, deeply educational, and fun for kids 8 and older. Swimming with the whale sharks is magical, but the qualification is serious. Absolutely skip it if your kids are under 5 because the heat, the humidity, and the transit friction are simply too intense. If the ages align, however, that $2,800 to $3,600 total all-in budget for a family of 4 is economically unbeatable.
The luxury verdict.
Yes.
The traveler looking to drop some serious money.
Yes, but you must actively manage your beach expectations. Paying $200 to $350 a night at the Crimson or Shangri-La is 40 to 50% cheaper than equivalent luxury in the Maldives or Hawaii. The amenities, the pools, the service are world-class, but remember that the Mactan sand is thin. If you want pure, endless beach lying, look elsewhere. But if you want high-end diving, great food, and luxury resort amenities at half the price, it's a massive win.
Finally, the Nomad verdict, the remote worker looking for a base.
A strong yes. IT Park is a remote worker's dream base. Fast, reliable internet, great cafes, highly functional infrastructure, and a $900 to $1,400 monthly cost. The only warning from the brief is behavioral. The Mango Avenue nightlife burns incredibly hot, and it might absolutely ruin your productivity if you aren't strictly disciplined.
Wow. Okay. So if we pull all of this vast information together and look at the bigger picture, here's a final synthesizing thought to ponder. We started this whole deep dive by talking about that projected 213,000 passenger shortfall in 2026.
Right, the flight cuts.
The easy, lazy assumption is that a drop in tourism numbers means a destination is failing, that it's losing its charm. But what this source material brilliantly reveals is the exact opposite.
It's an opportunity.
Those 2026 flight cuts aren't a sign of failure. They have accidentally created a moat. They are temporarily protecting a massive, multifaceted value proposition from the crushing over-tourism we see in Bali or Thailand.
A protective barrier of minor inconvenience.
Exactly. For the savvy traveler who is willing to look where others aren't, who is willing to take that one extra connecting flight, the reward is an island that offers authentic, top-tier experiences at prices we honestly haven't seen in years.
That sums it up perfectly.
If this gave you the honest verdict you needed, follow the show. New episodes drop every day.
Thanks for listening.
That is the honest verdict from Phil and H.